All right. We have the man, the myth, the legend. I don't even think you need an introduction.
Oh man, I'm just happy to be here, my friend. I've been waiting on this one for a while.
Right. Yeah. So welcome to the Emprise Consulting Corner. It's been a long time, I feel like, since I've done one. Or it's not I feel like it, I know it. I've just been so busy and I haven't made the time. And so I'm glad to have you here. And I had this idea most people don't really know about, besides one of my random posts on LinkedIn, that it's like, let's get some more community going on LinkedIn. Let's do a LinkedIn fantasy football league. And I tagged a bunch of people that I know that would be in for it, and a bunch of people that I don't know if they'd be in. And we got 10 people. It was pretty rough, but we got 10 people. So I think next year we'll definitely be a little more organized. It's kind of mixed right now, half collections industry, half people from Toledo that I kind of met a little bit personally, but have their own businesses here. So that was good. And you were my week one opponent. The
I
Naptown,
was. If you want to call me an opponent.
the Naptown Nasties
Yeah,
didn't take a beating. It was only a 14-point loss. And this is
beating's a
this is
beating. Beating is a beating. Believe me, it's been addressed. There was a
right.
team meeting immediately after.
I cut everybody.
They all had pink slips in their lockers. They just said maybe tomorrow. Come back tomorrow and we'll find out. Yeah.
Right, right. No, so I thought it'd be cool, like, hey, we don't really have to do a recap of the game, but I said, why don't we do this? Well, whoever I play each week, I'll throw them on if they're willing to do it, and just talk a little bit about themselves, the business, and have the normal shenanigans that I typically would have with people who are down for it. So,
Well, I'm down.
right. So we're in week 3, but I played you week 1, so we're a little bit delayed here, but that's no problem. So why don't you do me an introduction of, if people don't know you, yourself, the company, what you guys do, and how you help the financial service industry, and if you guys are doing anything else fun in other industries.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm Jason Highland, and I am the Vice President of Sales for Attunely. And if you don't know, Attunely provides the arm space and the financial services industries with what we call a machine learning decisioning platform. And really, at our core, what we do is we leverage our clients' data with our machine learning platform to really just answer questions. A lot of age-old questions that really people haven't been happy with the answers they've gotten to in the past. So probably the one question that most people are familiar with that we answer the most is our prioritization models, our scoring models, determining which accounts to contact, when to contact them, how to contact them. But funny enough, what we've found, and this probably happens a lot with new products in the industry. I mean, we've been at this for about 3 years, but I'd still consider us early stage. Is that we get all this data, and our data scientists go off into that dimly lit room to do data science stuff. That takes a little time, but we get all this data from the clients, and what we've really discovered is there's a lot of insights that our business analysts, as they kind of dig into it, we can slice and dice and cut that data in different ways than even the clients can. And so what we do is we do a lot of insightful data searching. We don't want to be a reporting platform. We want to be a machine learning, modeling platform. But we can't help with our experience and with all this data to find all these insights. So while the data scientists are hard at work, kind of creating the future as far as these models go, our analysts kind of dig into all the data that we got and look at the past and see if there's some value that we can add immediately. And it's really interesting when you kind of start looking at data from different perspectives, the things that we can do. But yeah, so essentially that's what we do, Matt. We provide machine learning models that help people determine what accounts to contact, how to contact, and when to contact. We offer all these insightful data attributes that people aren't aware of, maybe in their standard, collection platform reporting. And we just have a lot of fun. It's really interesting to take a completely different look at collections after working in the payment processing side of collections with BillingTree for over a decade.
Right. Yeah, that's probably where most people know you from. So one quick question. I'm already sidetracking it. Are
All
you at
right.
home or are you at the office?
I am actually at home. I've got 3 dogs and 2 cats all around me. Uh, as I said earlier, beware if the Amazon guy shows up because all hell breaks loose at that point in time. So some people like to ask, is that something
That
I've
was
done
my next
too?
question.
It's a fathead sticker. It really is. I can peel that off and take it wherever. Now, I work from home 3 days a week, typically, or actually 2 days a week. I work from the home office after spending a whole year and a half working from home. But my boss, Rob Nadler, we're the only two Attunely resources here in the Phoenix Valley area. So we rented out a little office, about 15 minutes from where I live, about 1 minute from where he lives. Funny how that works when it's your boss doing the renting. Anyway, I go up there a couple days a week just so we can collaborate and don't have to be on Zoom all the time, and give the dogs a break. I think they get tired of me waking them up all the time from their naps.
Yeah, no, I
Now I'm
hear
guessing
it.
you're at home,
Hey, yeah, I'm at
unless
my
you've got the
home.
coolest office ever that allows you to
That's
have the bar in it like that. I mean, I used to always have to keep that stuff in the bottom drawer.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm at home, and I decided when I was going to work from home, and we started doing all these Teams meetings back a year and a half ago. I had nothing. It was just a wall. And all anybody does, I feel like on these meetings, if you're half listening, is look at people, what's in people's background. So I'm
Uh,
like, well, I'm gonna bring some old school. My parents were unloading a closet like they do every 2 years. Say, hey, we found more of your childhood crap, and it was some old Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders posters, and I said, well, that's good. And then I had someone drink a lot of my good bourbon downstairs, so I said, well, I'm gonna bring my good stuff upstairs, and now I have an office to people can look at, and then I have my kids. Where are we at here? My kids' drawings that they like to draw Sonic the Hedgehog a lot. So
Two
yeah,
quick things. One, I have a bar like that in my house that's got the good stuff on it. And when my friends come over, there's only one rule. You can go over there and pour whatever you want. There is no Sprite or Coke or anything like that allowed to be mixed with the stuff on that bar. That's my only rule. I don't want to see somebody over there, taking a really nice bottle of bourbon and making them a bourbon and 7 with it. The Jack and everything else is on the other side over here. And
yeah, I agree. This is a good podcast so far. So yeah, I had that same incident with my wife and then a buddy and his girlfriend's friend with that, where they're pouring Jefferson's Ocean, and they asked if there was some Coke, and he's like, no, but you're not allowed to do that. I
no,
was like,
not
good.
allowed. Not allowed at all.
So good. Yeah. So no, back to Attunely. So it's data is something obviously the Emprise were huge on, and it's so important for businesses to make decisions on their data and not just blindly, yeah, let's do this with no backing of it. So I think it's really important, and I think more businesses see it nowadays, with just in general with companies like yours and maybe some competitors that you guys go against. What do you think sets yourself difference apart from maybe the few competitors that are in the space?
Well,
Besides
I'll talk
having
about.
you on the team, obviously.
Yeah, well, yeah, there can only be one of me. Thank goodness for everybody else. So there's a couple things, and my dog's over here wanting a treat, so we're gonna bring her in better. So there's a couple things that make us different. We'll just talk from the scoring perspective first versus our competitors, and most of our competitors are not working in the machine learning world who are doing prioritization and scoring. Most of them are the traditional methods, kind of the credit-based methods. So there's really probably 3 things that make us different from those companies in that respect. First is all of our models are custom built based off our clients' data. And it's all de-identified data. That's another interesting thing is we don't want to know the consumer's name, specific address. We don't want to know their phone number. I don't want to know their social, all the things that you typically send to the credit bureaus, which has been very beneficial for us in the Huntsting world. Because we don't work with the PII, so it's really hard to disclose. So the fact that they're custom made for every single client, because every client's different, then I would say the fact that our scores are dynamic, meaning we deliver new scores on our clients' active scoreable inventory every single day. And those scores change, whereas most clients and people in the ARM space that are working with the traditional credit-based scores, they get a placement, they do a couple scrubs, they score it. The net score might live with that account for the entire time of the placement. Now, I don't know about you, but my life changes. And so that's kind of a cool thing about the dynamic nature, is it allows us to put the account at the, in their hands at the right moment to make a call, or a text or an email, depending on what the models come back with. And then finally, most of the traditional scoring providers, you send them your data, they send you back a score, and that's kind of where their journey ends. It's kind of like, let me know when you need more scores. Right. But that's really where our journey kind of begins, because we work with our clients weekly to review reports, one, to see how well they're operationalizing the scores, because I could give someone the best score in the world, but if they're still using their gut 50% of the time, it doesn't reflect well on our models. And two, to give our data scientists a constant feedback loop from the clients and from what we see as consultants and sales reps in the reporting. So I would say all three of those are what really makes us different. My favorite one of those actually is number 3. I love continually working with clients and helping them kind of, we always talk about scores, but just like this podcast or this webcast, whatever you want to call it, they go in all kinds of different directions. So we find ourselves talking about so many questions that they would look for answers for. And that's kind of going back to where we kind of found ourselves doing a lot of analytics reporting early on, is because there's no shortage of questions. Right. And so we really find ourselves doing all sorts of things, which I enjoy. Doesn't get stale.
Yeah, no, I agree. Doing the same old stuff, finding some value, doing a lot of different things, that was great. So let's talk like systems and integrations for people who maybe haven't heard of you or want to talk a little bit more. What systems aren't you integrated? Obviously, what we do is integration, so we pretty much can be integrated with any platform, I would assume. But what do you guys have right now?
We have the ability via APIs to integrate with any one of the software systems. We haven't made that our initial priority. Most of our clients just are communicating us with simple CSV nightly file,
nightly batch file,
return. Yeah, it's very simple. And really, when we sit down and examine let's just say we went to one of the software vendors and said, hey, we'd like to write a standard API. Well, with machine learning, it loves data. And some of the most unique data clients have might not be stored in standard fields. So if we write how it goes, you write a custom API, and then you find out 10% of what you really want is over here in custom fields that the API is not calling, the clients were going to have to give us some sort of batch files that night anyway to cover that, unless we wanted to write a custom API for every single client, which that can be taxing to manage all of that. But what we've found is really these CSV files and uploading them to a secure SFTP, and the fact that we're working with de-identified data, so we kind of take away that fear of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be giving you all this personal consumer information. No, not really. It's all de-identified account level information, things they get from their clients, data that they might buy as far as enrichment data or data that the collectors might obtain during the course of the collection process, and then behavioral data. What calls, what letters, what emails, what texts, what kind of payments have you gotten? And then, the whole point with machine learning is that it finds those patterns and finds those signals. And, what most clients don't realize is they're sitting on a gold mine of patterns and signals in their database that given enough time, they might be able to figure out, but we can do it in a couple hours every single night and return new scores based on things that have changed in their environment or things that have changed in the macroeconomic economy going on around us, because that's another thing that we infuse into our models that the credit-based scores don't. They just take a snapshot of that person on that day, their financial situation. Whereas our models are constantly evolving and we're constantly infusing it with macroeconomic data so that it takes into consideration what's going on in the world today, as well as the behavioral and signal patterns that we're finding in the client's data. But yeah, going back, long story short, we have not gone out and integrated with everybody because at the end of the day, our focus has really just been on obtaining feedback from the clients that we are working with. And we really just haven't been up until about 6-9 months ago, being a young company, we weren't ready to say, everybody call us. We were still learning along the way.
Yeah.
Now we're ready to hit that accelerator, man. We've had a lot of fun learning, and now it's time to giddy up.
Right. No, that's a good clarification. Not that I was trying to throw you for a curveball there, but everybody wants everything now, but it doesn't seem like this is a case where an API out of the gate, or maybe even in the future, would really be worth it, because you just got to build that export, send us the data, we'll do our thing, send it back to you in the morning or that night, and here's all your updates.
It's actually really quick and simple. And we've got a couple clients that we've been working with for a year or two now that we're looking at building some APIs just for them.
Yeah.
But we're not going out there right now to all the software vendors and trying to build these standard APIs, because we're still learning the data elements. It's a constant learning process.
Yeah.
You go out there and start building custom APIs, and you know how it goes. I mean, these software companies are extremely busy, Reg F and everything else. So when you want to go back and ask for a change to an API, you know how that can go.
Yeah.
Keeps you in business, my friend.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I'm thinking of, just because we're all about the customer and client relationships, and to me, it sounds like it's way easier to engage with you than maybe some other companies, because you don't have to, oh yeah, we're building this, it's 6 months down the line. You can just start talking today and get people on their journey pretty quick. What does that look like if someone to reach out to you? Like, what's your from inception to, I'm assuming you get some sample data, you provide them with some sort of, hey, here's our approach, and give them a little taste before they buy.
Well, with the traditional methods, you could literally take some PII data of a select few consumers, kick it off to them, and then the next morning you've got scores.
Right.
We're not exactly building widgets here with these machine learning models that are customized for each client. So the process is a little bit different. The process is, once we've engaged and, contracts have been executed, my implementation team works with the client to, extract the data. And, the clients know their data better than we do. We help, but, if there's any heavy lifting, it's usually with the client right up front, because they pull a sample file of the data elements that we request. They kick that up to us. My engineers and analysts take a look at it. There's usually, how it goes, a couple questions back and forth. What's this status code mean to you? What's this result code mean to you? But once we get a good understanding of the data, which usually takes a couple weeks, then we just tell them, cut us a historic data file as far back as you can go without, essentially browning out the city you live in, because, there's no such thing as too much data to machine learning. But no, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be everything you've ever had. We like a couple years of data if we can get it. Once we have that, that's kind of where the client gets to kick back, because we ingest all of that and we give it over to our data science team, which is probably 5 or 6 of the most intimidatingly smart people I've ever spoken to in my life. I secretly Google words that they say on Zoom calls. And oh yeah, I know what that means.
Is that a word, or did you just make that up?
You'd think these guys are getting paid by the syllable sometimes. And so it usually takes anywhere from a month to 3 months to build a model, the typical one, where they're building, they're taking the data, they're introducing it to the algorithms, then they're internally testing that with a slew of tests, making some tweaks, some tuning changes, kicking it back through. You know, that's iterative. It takes a few times through that process for them. But once they have a feel that the model is predictive up to their standards, we release it. We then do a 4-week evaluation with the client, usually a champion challenger of our scores versus their incumbent policy. And, you know, we kind of duke it out. And, you know, the whole point of machine learning is it's, you know, the scores they're working with to now, the credit-based scores, they are what they are. They've been predictive. I'll tell anybody, there is a predictive nature to credit-based scores. So if they're not doing any scoring at all, they should absolutely be looking at that. But at the end of the day, they're not going to get much better. We're just kind of getting started with machine learning. And the whole point of machine learning is it sees more and more of our clients' data, because once we get the historic, they just started nightly delta file of any new placements, any calls, letters, texts, any payments that came in the day before. And every night we get that, and then every morning we feed them back just a simply, you know, operational return file. But after that 4-week evaluation period, we should be able to show them where this model is going, and they should have an idea that the ROI is not only there now, but using, you know, kind of forward thinking, they think, wow, if it's as good as it is today, can I imagine what it's going to be in 6 months, a year, 2 years, as machine learning and these algorithms see more of my data?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You know, machine learning and like AI, I feel like have always been buzzwords the last few years. They're still in their infancy stages, but you know, you guys are one of those companies that are bringing it to the forefront and proving, hey, this is actually a real thing. It's not just something that a company says to get you excited and then doesn't deliver on what they're doing.
You know, some people are like, well, I don't know about using machine learning. And I'm like, really? Let me ask you a question. Just today, Matt, have you gone on social media?
No, it's the work day. I never did.
Yeah, all right. So you haven't. Have you maybe breezed by Amazon? You know,
Potentially, yes.
Potentially, yeah. Pandora, you know, iTunes,
Yeah.
Spotify, anything
YouTube,
like that?
probably.
Now I know you haven't been on Netflix yet today.
No.
Maybe tonight after a few.
Correct.
Cold.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all machine. Literally, we cannot go a day in our personal life without the benefits of experiencing machine learning. But for some reason, people have just been slow to adopt it into their business world. And I think it's because they kind of imagine it like Skynet, like it's going to take over and it's just going to start making decisions. No, you can allow it to do that. We're not doing that at this point in time. We're allowing it to make suggestions.
Yeah.
But it's still up to our clients to take action.
Okay.
So I see the ball starting to spin more and more and more as people are still starting to really get on board with this and realize that it's not going anywhere. And if I don't at least learn about it and understand it and get started somewhere with it, whether it's with Attunely or someone else in some other aspect of my business, I'm going to get left behind.
Yeah, no, I think those are great comparisons, and you know, I do that with other things I won't bring up with when we talk to clients. I think that's almost a good ending point. Do you have anything else Attunely related you wanted to?
Well, kind of. I want to talk one more second about fantasy football because I'm 0-2, but there is a huge grudge match going on this weekend.
Okay.
It is Attunely, the machine learning team, otherwise known as Naptown Nasties, because I am from Indianapolis, versus True Accord, the artificial intelligence team.
Okay.
So ML versus AI this weekend. And I am right now a 2% underdog.
Uh-oh.
But I've got Sir Tom Brady on my team, and I'm going to call it right now. I'm calling this as we speak. Alvin Kamara is finally going to show up for me. My number 1 draft pick is going to score more than the 4 points he scored last week.
Well, the smack talk has been set up. So right now it's a Friday. So I doubt I'm going to get this out today. I will send the Team True Accord owner a message of your smack talk, and you should post something on ESPN as well. It looks like You already have a little bit of a head start as I'm loading. You got 16.5 points from
Yeah, and I'm still an underdog. I
DJ.
got it last night from my my receiver, DJ Moore.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm still an underdog, and that's who I like to be. Unassuming, come out of nowhere.
No, that's good. Yeah, and Team True Accord beat me in week 2. My Detroit Lions did not show up as fashion for the last 70 years, so that's why I
playing in
lost.
the SEC now.
I want to see them versus Alabama. We'll see what happens.
I thought the Lions had been downgraded to the SEC.
That or the Big Ten. I don't know.
I know. I didn't want to bring it to Big Ten.
So I got one fun. I'll ask you. You probably don't know the answer, but I'll ask you. How did Donkey Kong get his name?
You know, funny enough, and I don't know it right now, but I did hear this because I saw the whole Netflix. What was it? Amazon. I saw the Netflix show about the history of video games, but I don't know. I do not.
So the creator believed that donkey meant stupid. So in English, he wanted to convey the impression that the character was a stupid ape.
I tell you, he's been in a great game. I believe he was a Japanese programmer, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah.
No,
I've seen the show. I could not remember the answer to it, but a stupid ape. Well, I tell you what, man. I loved the game as a kid.
It was made a lot of money. So.
Yeah, it was my second favorite Atari game.
What was your first? Frogger?
My number 1 was Defender. I loved it. Loved it.
I like playing football. We still have our Atari 2600, or my parents do.
Keep it. It's going to be worth $1 billion in about 500 years.
I hope. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll get all your contact info in the notes and post it and tag you and all that fun stuff. And you're going to Hawaii tomorrow or Sunday, so enjoy yourself. And
I appreciate it. Really looking forward to it. Matt, as always, man, it's good to see your face. And thanks for inviting me on. You
too. Anytime. Let me know if I can do anything for you. And I'll see you at a conference sometime.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, buddy.
All righty. Have a good one.
You too.